Good morning. What is happening out there in well, maybe not morning. It might be noon where you're at, depending if you're on which side of the country. My side, it's morning, and it is Pacific Northwest, foggy, cold, 32 degrees outside, so freezing fog outside. So, drivers out there, be careful, man. I know it's like zero visibility in my area, anyway, Southern Oregon and cold. So, anyways, how the hell are you, man? Welcome to the morning drive. Going to have Brandon Carpenter here in a moment, and he'll be coming in from the right coast. I guess we're the left coast, supposedly. Even though I'm not on the coast, I'm up in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm kind of above that fray down there in the Californication land. Albeit, though, I was a 2 month visitor from November to December and into January, actually down in California. What a deal that was. So, morning drive, man. We have been talking more about this and trying to kind of come up with what it is going to be all about. And I'm going to bring the other half of the show in here, and we'll talk about what that looks like and sounds like. But it's one of those shows that we want to kind of change it up from what we normally do and have been doing in the afternoons on the weekly update. Certainly don't need two of those, and have some place where we can kind of chat, talk freely. Not necessarily going to be us, telling you how we feel deep down inside, but it might at times. But it's certainly to bring up the questions and have you answer them. That's kind of the thing. We want you guys to figure out what it is out of what we're talking about that you get and want to talk more about. And there's a lot going on in the world, whether it be within our reach locally or out of reach and in our realm, so to speak, and there's a lot going on there. First, I want to make mention this last weekend, we lost a dear friend of ours who, by all accounts, on my knowledge, I didn't really know that there was anything wrong till I did, which was most, recently, about maybe 2 weeks ago, I think, something around that time. And she needed help, and by that time, apparently, it was just not. It was too late, and it wasn't going to happen. No, not that we knew that, but that's just how it went. And want to say our condolences to Ray and his family for the loss of the matriarch of their family, and that's Susie, who for years was a part of the 10-4 family, along with her husband, Lil Ray, out of Salinas, California. And they were April 2011 cover truck feature. And Susie passed this weekend. The story that I'm sharing with you is on our Facebook. It's on, I think, all of our social media. So there's a little something there that Dan wrote up and shared with everybody. If you didn't know them, well, you're lost. Fun guys, fun folks. And Ray's, of course, still with us, and hope to see Ray this year at as many truck shows as he can possibly fit in. I know that it was a huge undertaking to care for Susie, these last couple of months. So it took Ray from out of the truck and kept him by her side. So I know they're trying to help out with the cost of everything that it took to do what they did during that time. And of course, now that she's passed and what they need to do moving forward. So if you feel like you can help, there is going to be a way to do that. I would say get a hold of somebody on their side. Go over to Little Ray's social media, check that out. We had a link, but we had to take it down because it was not correct information. So maybe we'll get that stuff back up by this afternoon, and I can share it on the weekly update, which will be going on at 5:00, and it will be our cover feature edition for January 2026. The current cover feature of 10-4 magazine. And if you haven't seen it, where the hell you been? There it is. And this great article and story was shot by the diesel addict herself, Stephanie Haas. And we will have TJ this gentleman right here on the show this afternoon, and we'll be talking to him all about who he is, where he is, what he is, and what's going on in his world and what it's like to be on the cover of 10-4 magazine. So, without any less or more time spared, the other half of Testa Carpenter, what's going on?
Oh, normal day here in the shop. Just lunchtime. Everybody's bugging out for lunch, and who knows, maybe going to get some McDonald's. I don't know what they're doing, but normal day here.
Perfect timing then for you, so you don't have to be working in the shop answering questions or any of that for at least an hour maybe, and you can do the show.
Yeah, this is actually a great, hopefully somewhat of a comic relief for me from normal afternoon, morning chaos around here. That's always a good thing, you know. For you, it's the morning drive. For us, I guess it would be the lunch break. Would
Yeah,
be our
yeah,
thing
it's
here.
morning or lunch, depending on, like I said, where you're at, and for me, it's the morning. It is the morning drive. I mean, uh, going for that, just rolled off the couch in the morning, look with second cup of coffee here, and I'll tell you, I finally feel warm after days of feeling like I can't seem to thaw out, and here I am finally. My feet are warm. I'm warm. I'm not cold anymore. I think coffee had something to do with it. So thank you for coffee and caffeine.
It's not an Irish coffee, is it?
No, nope, 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 nope. It's a long day ahead, Mr. Carpenter. So nope, nope, it's
Yeah.
not. Nope. And that's a funny thing too, because my routine typically I'm 4 o'clock. I'm in front of the computer all day on a Wednesday, and most of the other days too. But on a Wednesday, especially because I'm getting ready for the show in the afternoon and getting all the stuff together that I need to get together to make that happen. And yeah, by 3, 4 o'clock, man, it's cracking a PBR or something like that, and going from there into the 5 o'clock cocktail hour, and then and now I know I'm probably ruining it for all you dry Januaries ends. But yeah, it's okay. You guys do your thing. You do you, and that's good. I've done the dry January before. How about you?
I've never done it. You know, I'm not that trendy guy. Like, you know, people get into these trends and like when did dry January become a thing? I don't ever remember that until recently, you know, and so I don't really hop on the bandwagon with a lot of these trends and just never and I'm never that guy too. Like I don't feel like I drink excessively to the point where my liver's telling me that I need to take a month off from drinking. So, you know, and I guess
Then you're
some
doing it
people do
wrong.
need that, you know. Yeah, right. I probably am, as most things I do. I normally do it the opposite way that I should do it, but no,
Yeah,
I often wondered that. Like, when did dry January become a thing? Like, I feel like that's just a recent development.
it's I think the for me within the last probably 5 years, and all of a sudden, one of my friends at the time comes up and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're doing dry January. Like it was the greatest thing that ever happened, and it's so cool, and we should all do that." And I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about? Dry what? I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. Go ahead, go do that." And
Yeah, I
then
mean, who wants to give up drinking for a whole month? I mean, I like I say, that's a
yeah.
rough. I don't know about that.
Well, anyway, I have done it. That being said, I have done it. And then of course now some of the ones that screamed and yelled the loudest about it, they're like, "Oh, it's dry February too now. Oh, we're going to see how far we can take this." And good.
Yeah,
Yep.
have fun with that.
Okay. I'll get there when I need to if I do. And right now I don't feel like I do. I'm getting more out of it than not doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, every teach his own, man. Listen, nobody needs to do anything,
yeah,
whether you want to drink it, you don't want to drink it, whatever you want to do, man. I'm all about, you do you,
yeah.
and if you
That's
don't
how
want to
I
drink,
am.
I'll support you. In
Yeah,
fact, listen, anybody dry January, if you feel like you're slipping, call me. I'll come and I'll clean your bar out at your house, take away all the temptation, and that way you don't have to worry about it. There's nothing calling your name at any time during the day or night. It's at John's. It's over at JT's being taken care of for you.
Yeah. And of course, you'll properly dispose of it, in the right
properly
way.
in a responsible manner, in a responsible fashion. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've been,
that's what I always say too. Hey, I'm the same way. If somebody needs some help, just let me know. We'll come take care of it for you, and I'm sure we'll donate it to the bar trailer. We'll
I
make
was
sure
just
that
going to
that
say,
alcohol goes to good use.
the bar trailer is a great place to all you dry January guys on the right side of the country. Hit up Uncle Brandon and stock up the bar trailer because the old iron bar out there, it's getting close to mid America, and we need that thing
Yeah,
stocked and ready to go.
yeah, we're gonna need all we can get from Mid America, I'm sure.
And you know what? There's already the big rig build off guys promos are already out. So Randy's in there, Randy Meckel. Last year's winner, Luke is in there, Rethwich. And there's two others. I can't remember who they, but anyway, there's, Luke coming back. I think that's interesting. I have to reach out to him and find out what's he doing. I mean, you can't re-show what you built last year, right?
No, man, I'll tell you, that's always the interesting thing about it is, I build trucks, and it's always so amazing to me because it's like every year some of these heavy hitters come back and they outdo themselves from the year before. And it's like, sometimes you just feel like, okay, we've reached the top. How are we going to break that glass ceiling again? And these guys just continuously do it year after year after year. And I guess that's where maybe me as a builder, I guess my creative ability only goes to a certain point because I'm so old school and I love what I love. But these guys, I mean, it is really interesting to see what they present at that show every year, and they're
Well,
amazing. I mean,
so yeah, and you're kind of throwing like a big umbrella over it all because there's the big rig build off, then there's the show itself that's going on, and the truck beauty competition, and between the two of them, and yeah, there's ladders on both shows that the game has been brought so far up. The big rig build off, I think Luke last year brought back old school, the way that truck was presented. It was done, the whole thing. I mean, it was just and last year really was kind of the year of the old school presentations. I mean, cab overs, huge, man. Cab overs were everywhere. Old
yep,
school everywhere. It was like, all right, it's Renaissance. We're going back in time. I like it.
yep, yeah, it was amazing. That was really cool too. That they really did. They brought back the old school Louisville presentations of what I remember from years ago. And it's just neat to kind of see the old ways coming back. As I've spent most of my career in this business, trying to revive the old school mentality, the old school way of doing things. And it's neat to see that's coming back in the show world. I mean, it's right up my alley. I love it, but
Yeah.
definitely way more work though than what I'm willing to do. So they can have that. Like, I'm happy they're doing it. I think it's great. Like, I'll come over and I'll lend you a little hand here and there if you need it. But yeah, I commend you guys definitely because that is a ton of work.
Well, let's talk a minute about you and what you're doing, where you're doing it, and what that's like. You are and how you and I met was through the show, and I've told this story many times, but I want everybody to kind of know what you're up to right now and what your focuses are and what you can offer out there to folks. So go ahead, tell us all about it, Brandon.
Well, currently, I guess as far as offerings, I can't offer anything because I'm so freaking busy. I don't have time to do anything else currently.
Well, you've got
Uh,
yeah, you had to be the overachiever and go and run for office, public office too. So, and
well,
that's
that's a good part of it, is I'm also running for public office, so that definitely requires some of my time. But obviously, I'm building trucks out here in Ashland, Ohio, good old Amish country of all places. So we get to build trucks around the Amish and get a lot of our supplies from the Amish. So that makes it a little more interesting than maybe some of the folks out there. But we mainly build old stuff. I'll do a new truck here and there, and a lot of the clientele that we work for, a lot of people know them from the show world, and we build more working type stuff. I'm not really doing the crazy, full builds. I mean, yeah, we do a lot of full builds, but they're more of a working type truck type thing. So that's a lot of what I get to do. Mainly my interest is all pretty much old school. That's what I really like. Obviously Kenworths, internationals. And then right now we're gearing up for Louisville too. We got a couple builds in the works. We're trying to get a couple things done, and but the older I get, it's another really well-known, very amazing truck builder tells me this all the time, and I believe him, and I know there's a lot of truth to it. You don't build a truck for a show. You build a truck to build a truck, and it'll be done when it's done. Stop stressing about it. So I'm
Famous
hoping
last words from the builder who's behind.
right, exactly. So I'm hoping we got quite a few new trucks we're going to be bringing to Louisville. We'll see. Everything's up in the air like it always is with most builders. So we're going to dang sure give it a shot and see what we get done. But I have a feeling Louisville is going to be a good one. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, right now I was, this morning when I flipped on the TV and the first thing that comes up when I flip mine on is Weather Channel, Fox Weather, and I'm watching the weather across the country, and I'm thinking to myself, like you, which an anomaly. It was 55 degrees at your place yesterday, yet I didn't get above 35, depending on which side of my yard you stand on. I'm 31 degrees right now on one side and 38 on the other, and I don't know what the story is there, but anyway, that's just how it is. I got two weather stations, and they're giving me two different pieces of information, and then I look on my phone app, and it's like 32. So it's just cold. It's just cold. That's as high as it got, and you guys are 55. I'm like, damn, that's a heat wave. I want that.
Yeah. Well, what sucks for us is we're waiting on a big snowstorm to hit here anytime this afternoon.
Yeah.
So we that's what always sucks about Ohio is we go from 55 one day to 20 degrees the next, or even colder. We've had here lately, we've had some temperature swings that have been as much as 50 to 60 degrees from one day to the next, and that is a real big difference whenever you're dealing with that. You talk about one day, you're practically walking around in t-shirts, and the next day, you're bundled up with everything you got, and
It's like
a lot to deal with.
You got the windows and the doors open. It's spring kind of warmness, around you, t-shirts, and then the next day you're looking for firewood and turning the thermostat up so you can get hot, get warm. Yeah, no, it's that time of year, and when I was down in California, man, I was down there for over 2 months, but there was a 2-week stretch when I was in the Central Valley. I was there longer than that, but there was a 2-week stretch where I was pretty much, what do I want to say? I was RV park bound, and I was in a place in Patterson, California, and the valley fog didn't go away. There was no sign of any sun until finally it broke, and I got some great pictures that I took of the sunrise a couple of mornings in a row when we had the sun did show up, but freaking cold, damp. It's like down to your bone chilling, damp, cold. And I remember when I used to live there in the valley, how it was every winter. It literally, it was like the trees were so full of moisture from the fog. It was like you were being rained on, in your yard, your driveway, everything, the water just constantly dropping down on you. But it was from the fog, from the Thule fog. And just this last week or weekend, huge crash down in Fresno. First, incident of the season due to fog, and the 12-car pileup, multiple injuries. I don't know if there was fatalities or not involved, but there was a big rig involved. And here's the dumbest thing, my opinion. You tell me. Dumbest thing I ever heard of. Follow the truck. They know where they're going. Bullshit. We can't see any better than you. Trust me. I've been behind the glass of the truck. I know. And there's been times where I'm looking down, man. I'm lucky if I see the end of my hood in some cases. That's been that bad. And I damn sure can't see the fog line. So I'm freaking driving blind just like you guys. Don't follow me. All you're asking for is, but I've heard that so many times. Oh, yeah, the truckers know where they're going. No, they don't. We're guessing as much as you are. Trust me. And
no, I agree with that. I agree with that. I've been in that situation. I always laugh, like here, obviously we get the big snowstorms, and it'll be a complete whiteout. and everybody gets behind you, and you can't see where you're going. I mean, most of the time you're just guessing,
Yeah.
and if you're in a real whiteout, and most of the time, I laugh because I'm like, you know what's going to happen? Because there's been times where it's like it's just not worth it. You need to pull over and just stop and get over as far as you can and just
Yeah.
stop because I mean you're going to run into somebody. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, and I always laugh because it's like they're right on your bumper, and it's like they're going to pull over and they're going to be like, "Why are we stopped?" And then they'll sit there however long, and then they're going to get upset and they're going to go to try to take off, and then they're going to pull out in front of another truck that's probably coming
Yeah.
along, and that's how all that starts. And it's
Yep.
like, man, when they get behind you and line up like that, it's like that's the worst thing you could be doing. Just back off, go at your own pace. You don't need to follow me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know how many crash videos I've seen where it's like the wreck has happened, the pileup has started. Here comes the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy, and it's like, holy crap, man! Does anybody have a CB radio or know how to use it if they do anymore? And tell the guys on the road, look, we got problems here. We're at mile marker such and such, and you probably ought to pull over and get off the damn road, or you're going to end up in the middle of this mess.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think one of the other big issues is people just aren't used to snow squalls, and that's a lot of the problem too, is, like here, we're pretty used to it, and you get this lake effect snow where you could drive. Prime example is I live on the Continental Divide. And you can go north of my place, and sometimes it's snowing there, where south of my place it's not snowing. So here, let's just say south, you might hit 55 mile an hour. And when you get to the top of the hill, you might need to back it down to 25 because it's all going to be ice and the road's going to be crappy. And I think that's a big problem too, is people get on the interstates and it's like, do they not practice any common sense that you see that wall of snow up there? Slow down, man. Like, because that's what I always see with those videos. Everybody's just hauling ass. And
yeah,
it's like, when did that seem like that was a good idea to you? It's like, how did you not think to slow down? How did you not think, hey, these road conditions, hey, there's a wall of snow up there. I'm probably going to drive into something really bad. Maybe I need to start slowing down now before I get to that point.
I don't think that anybody, these people we're talking of, and not everybody falls into this bucket, so to speak, but a lot of you do. And I think that the skills that used to be taught through driver's ed, whether it be driver's ed at school or wherever you go to get driver's ed these days, parents, whoever teaches people to drive, all that's just been left aside. It's not being handed down to the next, guy getting behind the wheel. And they don't know, because I'll tell you the way I see people drive out there. And here's something else too. And this isn't to jump into the political realm. I know it's become that, but all these drivers that have been handed licenses and CDLs out here that shouldn't be driving a freaking, red wagon, let alone an 18 wheeler, they don't know what they're doing. They got no idea. They got no freaking idea what they're sitting on top of and how it really, really works, and what it means to leave the yard, be safe, don't hurt anybody, including yourself, and return back to the yard safely at the end of the day. They don't know what
I
that
agree
means.
with that. Yeah. It's awful. And the other thing too is, and I can't stress this enough, if you're out there and you're listening, please, 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 if you see a young kid in a car doing donuts in an abandoned parking lot or an empty lot in the middle of the night or wherever it is, if it's an empty lot, don't call the police on those kids. Let them do those donuts. Let them figure out how that car handles. That's the best way to understand how a vehicle handles, what it's going to do. I get so upset. We see it around here all the time, where some kid will go into like an old parking lot in the middle of the night. And they'll have video footage, and the kid's just in there doing donuts, doesn't run into anything,
Yeah.
doesn't cause nobody problems, and next thing you know, they're putting out there, does anybody recognize this vehicle? And it's like, listen, that's the best training that a young person could have. Don't
Well,
call the cops on them.
so here's where that's gone. So that, we used to go to, and I hate to admit this, but
Don't
opposing
incriminate
rivals
yourself, John.
I know, man. The statute of limitations is way run out on this, but opposing rivalry schools' football fields and maybe do some donuts may have happened, maybe. And nowadays, though, it's what are they calling it? Just street takeovers, where there are literally street takeovers happening, and it's like a flash mob thing. They just all show up at
Yeah.
once, take over an intersection or the freeway or the highway or whatever the case may be, and it's on at that point. They're doing the donuts and they're getting crazy, and that's a whole nother deal. And I follow several law enforcement agencies as a whole and regionally, because I want to keep track kind of what's going on and see what's happening. Modesto is one of the busiest areas down in California, and they are, I think they're 500,000 strong down there in Modesto, somewhere in that range of that big of a city. And the Modesto PD up in the air, they're streaming while they're filming and shooting and following these guys. I mean, shooting as in camera, not guns, but they're probably doing that too. But anyway, it's interesting to watch, and you see all of this stuff happening, and you're like, "Holy hell, man!" You know, and I know Modesto. You're like, "Why Modesto?" Miss Julia, my girlfriend, lives down in Modesto, so I occasionally go down there, hang out, and when I'm not there, I'm watching online and seeing what's going on. And man, they got their hands full down there. And I know it's not isolated to Modesto, California by any means. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens out here on the East Coast all the time. Thankfully, we see it a little bit maybe up in Cleveland, a little bit in Columbus. I would say we see a lot more of it down in Cincinnati, your bigger cities. But it's interesting to me because that's the thing. The car culture has always been kind of more of there's always the renegades, there's always the outlaw somewhat, but it's kind of really went to this new culture of people that are really renegade, and they don't have no problem going right in the middle of an intersection, a busy intersection in the middle of the town, taking it over. And I disagree with
Right.
that. Like that's
Right.
it's one thing, whenever you have a friendly little street race. I mean, we've all been there. You pull up to the traffic light, you're in some souped up hot rod, and you got the guy next to you revving his engine, wanting to race, and you might race down the street. I mean, everybody's been there at some point in their life. And, it's kind of good, clean fun. It's whenever you're shutting streets down and and look at how many of those people get seriously mangled up, because they're out there trying to film it and they run into the crowd or whatever it is, and it's not good. It's not
So
good.
I'm gonna take it back. High school, little Johnny JT in high school, Carmel High School, freshman year, and I've got friends. All my friends, most of them were older than me by a year or more, and not that I didn't have friends in my own grade, but most of them were older. So that meant I had guys that were friends that had cars. And at Carmel High School, the way the high school was situated, it was situated on Highway 1 at the top of what they call Carmel Hill. And if you guys have ever been to Carmel, California, you come off of Highway 1 and you go down Ocean Avenue right off of Highway 1, which takes you, that's the main drag into Carmel, California. You all know it as Carmel by the sea, whatever. It's Carmel, okay? So Carmel High School was right there at the top. Lance, what's going on, man? Good to see you, buddy. Carmel High School was right there at the top, right on Highway 1. And there's a stoplight right there at that intersection. So at the intersection of Highway 1 and Ocean Avenue and then Carmel High School. Well, before you get up to the stoplight to turn to go either to the Ocean Avenue down to Carmel or Carmel High School, there was another turnout off of Highway 1 into the parking lot of Carmel High School. And that parking lot ran from that entrance all the way to the other end where that stoplight and intersection is at Ocean Avenue, or you can go straight out and there's a frontage road with houses along the side and the frontage road was at least probably longer, a quarter mile, and it was straight. So guess what we did? Anyways, this gets really good. So lunchtime, it was always a religious experience. There was a couple of guys that had what they used to call Yamaha thumpers. You know what that is? You remember those?
Yep.
Do you ever? Okay.
Yep.
For those that don't know, those were Yamaha XT single cylinder, big stroke, 500cc enduro on off road motorcycles, man. Right? 4-stroke. And there was a couple of guys that would come in off the highway, and at the parking lot in the entrance, it was from there, they'd go up on and do a wheelie through the whole parking lot. Okay. And there's not just one, there was 2 or 3 of these guys that did that. Then the other end, as you go to that stop sign along that frontage road, that's where the drag racing happened. And I've been in a couple of cars that did that. I remember one race, it was a buddy of mine, both of the guys that were racing. I was in a 57 Chevy Bel Air. The other guy was like a 68 El Camino with a 396 in it, doing drag racing along this frontage road out of the high school parking lot. And it was on. I mean, there was no joke. This was on. This was all about go as fast as you can and make it was a race. It was totally on, man. Now, if anybody out there had those kinds of experiences while they were in high school, I'd like to hear about it. Let me know.
Right. Yeah, it was funny. My high school years, I never got the pleasure of. I didn't grow up in the big horsepower era, So when it came to all of us getting our first vehicles and our time in driving, unfortunately, it was the Honda Civics,
Oh God,
gosh, I got to think about the Ford. Man, what the heck
Escort
was
or
it? There was
Escreed
Contour, the Ford Contour, the little, and it was so funny because I can remember pulling into the parking lot, and I went to a vocational school for my last 2 years in high school. So we would go to our main school, and then we were either able to drive to the other school, or we were allowed to get on the bus and we were allowed to take the bus to the other school.
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, yours truly here, I had a Ford conversion van, and had the big TV up, in the center you could watch, had the push button
Love
fold down
machine.
bed. Yeah, I had it going on, man. It had leather seats, it was everything. So naturally, all the
I
kids
didn't
that
know
went to
that was allowed
vocational
in the Amish culture, my friend.
right,
How'd you get
yeah.
that?
I had
How'd
the
the bishop?
fanciest buggy. That's what.
Yeah, the bishop gave you like a permission slip, or how did that work out?
Yeah. It took some work to get that done, but all my friends though, they're like, hey, you got the big conversion van. You should drive us, start taking all of us to the school. So it kind of got to the point where nobody wanted to ride the bus because it's like you drove from your house to the first school. Why do you want to get on that bus and then go to the other school? That's not cool. We all got to drive over there. Well, it didn't take long, and all my buddies were like, "Man, everybody's broke. We're all young guys, and they're like, "Well, hey, if I give you $10 a week, would you start driving over there?" And I'm like, "Well, if I make $10 off everybody, like this could be a little money making
How
adventure
much
for
was a
me."
gallon of gas then?
So, a gallon of gas at that time was a buck 65, if I remember right. And diesel was around the same price. It was $1.70 a gallon.
Yeah.
So it wasn't horrible. It was pretty
Yeah.
cheap. But so I got the bright idea. I'm like, man, you know what? This is great. Well, it became a thing with us because I got to thinking one day. I'm like, you know what? I got all these leather seats in the back, and I never even thought about it. Me being a young guy, I wiped them all down with Armor All. Well, we're headed over to school, and there's quite a few turns and hills and everything. And next thing you know, everybody's sliding down their seats. They're all laughing. And so then it became a thing is, hey, man, there's a big bench seat in the back. We should armor all that up. And then you should just drive like a maniac and see who can stay in the back seat the longest. So that was always our ride to school
What a
is I would
great
armor
idea.
all the seat and how nobody ever flew out the window or nobody ever actually ended up seriously injured. I don't know because we would always get a new guy who didn't know the routine. And of course, he would have to sit in the back And it seemed like too they would never sit by the window. They would always sit in the center of the seat. That was the worst possible place they could start out. By the time it was all said and done, though, they were on the floor, and we experimented with a lot of different arbor alls and stuff to see how slick we could make the seat. And it was a good time. We had fun when we were kids, but we never got into the horsepower. That was the sad part.
Yeah, I was going to say your experience sounds a little more mellow and probably a lot less could go wrong than what we were doing out there. I mean, full on drag racing, down this frontage road, which was a quarter mile. The way we did it from stop sign to stop sign, and there was another stop sign, like I said, about maybe a quarter mile down that road, and you could turn left and then hit Highway 1. But I mean, lunchtime out of the parking lot. Want to race? Okay, let's go. There was there was some other stuff that went on at that school when I was there, and it doesn't bear going into because it was just so nuts, the stuff that kids did. But there was a lot of, I mean, our school had a smoking tree, and you get a permit, you get a permission slip from home. Little Johnny has my permission to hang out at the smoking tree and smoke cigarettes. Yeah,
Could
right.
you imagine that today?
But here, yeah. So I mean, none of us we're high school. None of us are 18 years old, or you have to be 18 to buy cigarettes, let alone smoke them, right? So, but we were, and we did, and that wasn't all that was being smoked down there, and it was, it was crazy, man. I'll tell you. But that's how it was, and it was the tree at Carmel High School at that time was a historic landmark red oak tree, California coastal red oak, and it was, I don't know, over 100 years old, and it was like I said, it was a landmark. Well, one of my buddies who I grew up with got the bright idea, him and another guy, that it would be fun to take a chainsaw and cut it down, and they did.
Oh man.
Yeah. And neither one of those guys, rest wherever you guys are at, they are both gone. They're not with us on the terrestrial plane any longer. One's been gone many, many years than the other. The guy that actually did a lot of that stuff he just left us a couple years ago. But yeah, wow. I mean, to this day, if you mention that guy's name or that tree, synonymous in where I grew up at, anyways. Everybody knew him, and for a lot of other reasons besides that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's crazy shit, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, so what'd they do? Like, what happened to him after he cut the tree down? Like, or did nobody find out?
They got in a lot of trouble. That's for sure. They got in a lot of trouble. I think there was some sort of restitution. I don't know what that involved. It's not like you can fix it. It's gone.
Yeah, 100-year redwood. How are you going to replace that?
That's my point. Yeah, it's not. The house I grew up in was built in the middle of 3 oak trees in the Carmel Valley area. That's where I grew up. And those trees, again, hundreds of years old. I don't know how old, but at least 100. One night I was out and caught the trunk of the tree, one of the trees, caught with light just the right way, that it was like throwing a black light on something, that it picks up that iridescent coloring, and there were names and dates carved into the tree.
Oh,
from
wow.
1800 something, and it was so and so loves so and so, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Can you believe?
That's
I mean,
interesting.
just wild, man. Yeah, this is my house I grew up in, and there, like I said, there was three of these huge red oak, coastal California red oaks that the house was built in the middle of, and that one tree, though, I'll never forget that, man. I thought, God, I found I've just unlocked something. I'm just a kid, I mean, what do I know? But I thought it was pretty cool. I think it's still pretty cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, those guys, yeah, they got in trouble. I don't know what they ended up having to do, but They got kicked out of school. I
Yeah.
know that. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure. Yeah. History is always so amazing to me. And as you know, I'm a huge history lover,
Yes, you are.
here, you guys on the West Coast, I mean, you definitely have some very unique history and how the West Coast was basically developed, and in here we have some very old history. And one of the cool things about where I live here is we actually have Indian mounds here. And so we had the Wyandotte and the Ottawa Indians that lived around here. And the sad, unfortunate part about it is they're not. We know the general location of where they're at, but over the years, farming practices, that type of thing, have kind of
Yeah,
destroyed some of that.
yeah,
And I actually have I have this lifelong quest here, and I hope someday, like you, I hope someday I unlock the answer to it because I was given a book as a young man about the history of this township, and in the 1790s, some of the first people came to this area. They actually found what they recorded as an ancient fort. It was a 300 by 300-foot square walls, and they said that it looked like it actually had rotted off trees where they had used trees for the walls, and stood them up, buried them in the ground, and they had rotted over the years, broke off and rotted. And that was in the 1790s, and they listed it as an ancient fort.
hmm
Well, the Indians really didn't construct things like that. It really wasn't their type of construction, and it would have been 300 by 300 would have been pretty massive for that time.
yeah,
So I've kind of dedicated some of my adult life to searching the areas around here because we have a general idea of the area, but we don't know. And I always hope one day I'll locate the location of that fort because I believe that it was Spanish and that it would kind of rewrite some Ohio history because we didn't believe the Spanish were in this area at that time. And so, but as a kid, it's like I get this book and it's like this magical thing they're talking about it. And I realize where the general area is. And I'm like, I need to unlock the secret of this. Well, here I am in my adult life, and I still have yet to find it, but
yeah,
hopefully one day I'll let you.
yeah. Well, while you were saying, Indian mounds and all that, and it was running through my mind. I'm like, why does that ring a bell? I'm thinking, where was it that I was at where we were standing on Indian mounds, and I couldn't remember, and that's because it was me watching a movie in the middle of the night, kind of half awake, and it was a movie, not me in real life. But that's what it was. They were Indian mounds, by a house, and they brought bad spirits in, and the house was possessed and all. Anyway, yeah. So I haven't found any of that yet. You're not on the right track. Dig deeper, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I'm not being haunted by evil spirits yet, so I
Yeah.
guess I'll have to keep looking.
Yeah. Um, Out there in our great big wide world, right now is the beginning of New Year. Well, it is a little bit still wrapping up of the last one, but um, in our immediate view, we've got the shows that we're looking at that are coming up that we're going to be going to. Arizona's actually there's a local regional show that's coming up even before that, and that's show in Castroville, California. There's Stan Silva Senior show, and then Arizona down there for the NHRDA show in the end of February, and then Mid America Truck Show, and then after that we'll be gearing up for Trucking for Kids, and that's going to be the first weekend of May back down in Bakersfield at the Famoso Raceway. All these different shows that are coming up. There's different things are happening. I haven't even got the phone ringing yet to talk to people, including you, about what we're doing this year at Mid America. But the horizon's looking pretty good. I'm tying that to the economy. I've been seeing and hearing, like everybody else, I'm sure, about all these, and I get stuff notifications all the time, and that's notifications of businesses that are opening and businesses that are closing. One of my places I used to go to all the time back in Folsom when I lived in Folsom was Red Robin. I love Red Robin burgers, man. I think they got great burgers.
Yeah, they do.
All you can eat fries, right? Well, Red Robin in Folsom moved from a location that was off the beaten path and obscurity to a place in town where it's hugely trafficked and populated. People are everywhere all around. It was a big improvement for them. That place seemed like it was never ending busy from the moment they opened the doors to the moment they kicked the last guy out at whatever time at night. I just found out today they're closing. closing this
Oh,
location.
man.
And
Wow.
reading the comments in the group on Facebook, was reading, from the, man, that's my favorite go-to spot, to, oh, they've sucked all from day one. It's like, I don't know. I mean, people they're going to throw their opinions out there, including myself, that, but
Yeah.
talking shit like that, come on, man, really? I mean, you're probably not happy with anything anyway. So, you're going to lend your negativity to that restaurant's demise, and you're probably the reason it's going. No, I don't know. But anyway, I see a lot of businesses that are closing. And the take I have on this, and I don't think it's rocket science, man. It's the landscape, the economy, and us as a whole. We have changed. We're not the same consumers we were 20 years ago, 25 years ago, certainly not 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And so there's a correction that's happening. It's not an indication of the economy tanking, because it's not. Because I've talked to a lot of people who are very, very robust on 2026 and what's going on, and how the effects of things are going to turn positive, and if you haven't already, turn positive. Fuel costs, number one, fuel goes down, we're going to be headed in the right direction, because everything will follow suit. Once fuel prices go down, it costs less to get things from A to B. We're not going to have to spend much at the store to get it. But the economy, I think it's doing good. I think it's going to do even better. But I seriously, I think that the old days of, franchises with 1,200 locations, and I'm referring to like the Denny's, the Sizzlers, all these restaurants that were out there that just grew. There's too many selections, there's too many choices, and let's not leave out, the Grubhubs and the delivery thing now, man. I mean, every restaurant I go into, there's literally a line of these, door service delivery people coming in, grabbing bags of food, and heading out to their next delivery.
Yep.
I mean, that in itself is a whole part of that restaurant's business model now. And they have people
absolutely.
just focusing on that. So I don't know. That's my take. What's your take on this?
Well, I agree with that. Actually, matter of fact, one of the guys that works here just started, just for side money. He just started delivering pizzas in the evening just for something to do, and he was telling me, and I believe it, that it's pretty amazing, because even the day of the pizza delivery driver is coming to an end, because these
Well,
people now
yeah,
on the app, they order it through Grubhub, and they get
yeah,
their own driver to come in and pick it up, where,
yeah,
the pizza place has their drivers, and the driver doesn't even really get utilized like it used to anymore.
yeah,
And, that's one thing to kind of think about too, is, the days of your Papa John's or Domino's pizza delivery driver guy, that always worked for them, like, they're kinda getting phased out because of this stuff.
yeah,
And I think the restaurant business is changing that way a lot, that people aren't even going out to eat like they used to. They're still eating out, don't get me wrong. Like, I think there's way more people eating out now than there ever has been. They're just getting it in Grubhub and all these crazy apps. I personally don't do it. It drives me nuts that people are willing to spend that kind of money on having their food brought, DoorDash, whatever. I mean,
yeah,
if I can understand it, it has its place. Like, if you're a truck driver and you're sitting somewhere and you can't leave the dock, and you're hungry and you want something to eat, I mean, how cool is it that you can just get on an app and say, "Hey, I'm in door 37, deliver it to me." Like, that's a
yep,
great thing.
yep, yep,
It's whenever you're sitting at your house and, you're complaining you don't have any money, but then you go and you order a $10 meal and you give the guy a $20 tip. That's the problem.
yeah. No, they're so DoorDash, Grubhub, just to name two. There's many out there, but they have their own menu, and so their
Yeah,
menu is, they're making money off of that. Whatever it is you're buying costs more that way than if you went into the restaurant. Okay,
yep,
and then a tip, if you're going to tip whoever delivers to you, yeah, then there's that. But, and I guess, so what you said, you think there's more people eating out than there ever has been, but they're not eating out. They're staying home and
They're not eating out. Yeah, they're
yeah,
not physically going to the location, and that's a
right,
lot of the problem is they're not
right,
physically going to that location to get that stuff, so they're not
right.
dining in. And
Yeah,
I think that's where a lot of these places are struggling too, because you got to think too. If you're dining in, what's the famous thing they always ask you? You got any room for dessert? Let me show
yeah,
you my dessert menu. And upsell. They get you in the door, they upsell
right.
you. It's that way with almost any business. Well, if you're not there to upsell you, they are losing some income off that.
In Modesto, and this is one of my California things because Oregon does not have Popeye's chicken. Okay, and I love Popeye's chicken, man. Fried chicken, I go to Popeye's. Modesto has two Popeyes restaurants, and one of them is the old style, and one of them is the new style. I go to both, just depending on where I'm at, what I'm doing. The new one, the new one doesn't even have front counter staff. No such thing.
Mhm.
You got
Yep.
kiosk that you walk in and order from, or the app. I have the
Yep.
app on my phone and I order using the app. When I get there, all I do is go boom, show them my app. They bring me my order and I'm out of there. And that's how the interface is in this restaurant when you come in person. And then, of course, if you do the drive through and you did a pre-order, same thing. You just show your app and boom, you're done. You've already paid for it. It's all paid for and done. You're just picking
Yep.
up.
Yep.
I think that's where a lot of this is going. And there was a big Popeyes. You asked me where the Popeyes are from here to California and Modesto. I know where they're all at. The one in Redding, shut down, and it was a big, a franchisee, I believe. I don't think it was corporate, but it was one of the bigger properties that they have. I don't think they're doing any more of those. It closed. Too much overhead.
Yeah.
And they had too many people. There's another Popeyes in Redding. It's off Knightson Road at the TA, and they've got one of those built into the TA, and right next to it is a pizza place. I can't remember which one it is, but they've been there for years. I mean, back when I was trucking, these two food shop stores, whatever you want to call them, were in that TA, and they're still there to
Yeah.
this day.
Wow.
And they thrive.
Yeah.
And and the trick at this particular pizza place inside there, the pizzas have a stamp or a sticker on them, and if it's older or been on the heater, display longer than whatever it is, 30 minutes, it's free. So if there's a little insider tip on getting a
Yeah.
free pizza, you can get one. But the pizza, awesome, and the Popeyes there, I mean, they're fantastic. But uh, you go into Walmart, and I'm look, I hate Walmart. I do. I hate Walmart. Some of them are still decent. Our Walmart here in Grants Pass, it's a super Walmart. Not the membership. Frank, what's the membership ones called?
Oh, Sam's Club.
Sam's Club. Thanks. Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have any of those here in Oregon. Period.
Yeah.
They're just the super Walmarts, but it's clean, it's organized, it's decent. The one in Folsom looks like it gets ransacked every freaking night, and the shit ends up everywhere, and they don't have anything in stock. It was a mess down there. I hated going to that store. So I hate Walmart. But here's the other thing. It has more self-serve kiosks than it does checkers anymore. And the checkers that are in there, man, these poor folks are like so overwhelmed. Some of them, it's, you're taking your own life into your hands by standing in line to get checked out, and how long you're going to be there and whatever. It's a whole different way of doing business. So it all goes back to what I started this whole segment out with. It's just we're not doing things the same way we were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Our buying processes, our consumer habits have changed, and it certainly has become enlarged due to what I've got right here, right there, and that's our connectivity with a cell phone, our computers, our tablets, whatever we're connecting to the internet with, to give us access to everything else out there. I mean, criminy, man, I'm a lone single person supporting Amazon wholly as an entity. I think I buy pretty much freaking everything they have, and it's just too easy, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
It's ease. It's all about, it's funny because last night, I was at a campaign thing last night and I was telling somebody this, that anymore because my one of my political opponents, basically come out last night and said, well, he gets upset whenever the constituents basically try to blame public officials for something not being readily available or that something that's easily available for information to the public. And he's like, "Well, it's all online. You can get it online." And I kind of had the argument afterwards. I was talking about this. The younger generation of people today, it's just like now. If let's say we're putting up a Facebook reel or a TikTok video, you got 3 seconds to capture their attention, and if you don't get it in that 3 seconds, they're on to the next video. And it's
yeah,
kind of the same thing, with this. That we are a people now that we want our information, we want it now. We don't wanna have to try to search for it, we don't wanna have to struggle to find it, we don't wanna have to go to 3 different pages to find it. It's all about ease, and these companies that have capitalized on making life easy, like Amazon, you know, I catch myself doing it all the time, and it's like, "Okay, I could get this here, or I can go over to Amazon and it's like everything's so easy. Some of these websites, like try to look something up on Harbor Freight's website, look it up on Amazon. A tool on Harbor Freight,
yeah,
it might take you 20 minutes to find it. On Amazon, it takes you about 5.
yeah.
And that makes you buy it. I mean, that's just simple, and these companies have capitalized on that. I think it's very smart what they're doing. That's how you're gonna get your
Well,
sales.
Amazon, it's based on results based searches that the most popular stuff's going to come up, and you're looking for a certain thing, you can bet there's probably 100 other guys out there looking for it too, and they've already been here and got one, or they're going to get it, and it's saved in their shopping cart. They just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But um accessibility and interface, what it is, what's the experience once they get you there, what's that like? And I'll tell you, there's been some vendors that we've worked with that have websites that I think are just phenomenal. I mean, they offer a view the way we see things, which is how it
Yeah.
should be, with the way the human interface works. We see, we smell, we feel, we touch, we hear. All of that is available, and if you can utilize that and connect that way to a website, and it takes you where you need to go, it's a win for everybody. But some sites, it's like a challenge, and the worst ones are these sites that somehow or another you subscribe to them along the way, doing something during your day, and then you realize, you know what, I'm not going to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. You may have decided that within moments or days or months, whatever the case may be, and then you go there to unsubscribe. Now the journey begins. It's like, how
Yeah.
do I get out of this, man? Where do I get to say I don't want to pay you anymore? I've had to call my credit card company before and say, look, this is what's going on. I need to cancel this account and open a new one, so these fuckers can't charge me any more money. And
Well, wasn't it Amazon the ones that recently actually got a lawsuit because of that? Because I think it was some of the Prime members, they made it so difficult to unsubscribe from Prime that people actually sued them because they couldn't get unsubscribed from it. It was like once you're in it, it's like the mob. You're in it for the rest of your life. You're stuck paying us. And I'll have to look that up, but I'm almost positive it was Amazon recently actually got a judgment against them for that, and the plaintiffs actually won the case.
I remember getting an email too from somewhere, and I don't know if it was Amazon or not, but I mean I've actually cashed checks from Facebook, um, AT&T, Cell, um, Google. Google's in a big lawsuit right now too.
Yeah.
I forget who else, man, but I've been doing this long enough. I've been online, forever, through the infancy of all these companies doing whatever it is they do, and getting screwed along the way by them, and then end up, having to cash a check. And listen, there was nothing like, hey, let's go party. It was like more like, oh, okay, yeah, there's enough for a cup of coffee, maybe.
Yeah, here's your $2.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nothing phenomenal. But it's not only the unsubscribe, part that you want to try to find that's also at task here too. Sometimes it's the contact. How do I contact a real person? And Amazon was not being very forthwith on doing that. I mean, it wasn't like a click and you're in. It was like, okay, no, that didn't work. Okay, no, that didn't work. Okay, no, wait a minute, maybe this will work. I'm not kidding you, man. There was, till you finally figured out, the keystrokes to get to where you could actually get a phone call,
Yeah,
and talk to somebody. And then you can't call them. You give them, they call you back, right? And that's the way a lot of these companies are. They'll call you back if they're going to call you at all.
Yep.
But I mean, that there's companies out there right now that class action lawsuits are in play because of the unscrupulous, tactics that they use, that once they get you subscribing and they're cashing your check or your ringing up your credit card every month, and you can't get unsubscribed, they'll keep doing it until you finally somehow disappear, and that could be, the credit card literally cut it up and get a new one, so they can't charge that account anymore. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Well, I got to run, John. I got some stuff I got to do here. So,
okay. Man, I had a whole nother hour to go, dude.
I mean, we can keep it rolling for another hour, but
no, you go do what you got to do. I've got another show that we need to prep for, and it'll be coming on this afternoon at 5:00, and it's going to be our monthly cover feature story show. So check us out at 5:00 Pacific time out there, everybody. And on the same channels as we're on right now, and that's 10-4 Magazine, Facebook, YouTube, and X. All three of those, we are live streaming there. Be sure and check out all of our other assets out there, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, we're on it. And get yourself a subscription to 10-4 Magazine while you're out there. If you need something done and he's got the time, get a hold of Brandon out there in his and maybe your neck of the woods. Lead time right now for him sounds like it's maybe next year, but
yeah,
not going to be happening anytime right away.
Not in. Doesn't appear that's going to happen in 2026. So
yeah, well, that's a good problem to have. All right, listen, everybody, tune in again next Wednesday, and we will be back with the morning drive. Got more stuff to talk about. We might even pick a topic and bore down on it. Who knows? Right now, we're just kind of putting it all out there, feeling out what we got going on, and building this show as we go. And there's plenty more that we can filter in here as we roll into every week on a Wednesday morning. 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. elsewhere. Yeah. All right, everybody. All right. Brandon, we'll see you later, buddy. Maybe later this afternoon. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. All right. All right, everybody. JT here signing out. I will catch up with you later on this afternoon. And I hope to see you on Studio 10-4 live, 4 p.m. And that is our regular weekly stream that we do. All right, y'all. Take care. Talk to you soon. Have a great day out there, too, huh?